So to start off this afternoon's session, we're lucky to have Paddy from Taulia and Marina from SAP, who are going to talk a little bit about what's going on in this world and explain how the world of working capital is going to get better. So over to you.
Thank you, Stuart. Paddy, do you want to go first with the intros?
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you had an enjoyable lunch and enjoyed the chocolate cake. Many thanks, first of all, to SAP and SAP Pioneer for hosting us. It's my first SAP event, and we'll probably learn why very shortly, so super exciting to be here. My name is Paddy Hashimi. I lead Taulia's Program Success Management team for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So my team focus on making sure our customer base get the most out of the Taulia solution, including the various products in the suite. Background-wise, I'm a recovering banker for my sins. So a career in the corporate banking space, working capital, cash management, transaction banking. So nice to meet you all.
And I guess it's my turn, so happy to be here today. My name is Marina Goldberg. I'm part of the SAP Working Capital Management Center of Excellence. We are a team of 12 people whose mission is to facilitate Taulia's integration into SAP. I've been with SAP for more than 8 years now in product roles, essentially. And since the beginning of April of this year, I'm focusing on the definition and execution of the joint Taulia and SAP product roadmap. And let me tell you, so far it's been a fantastic journey. Not just because most of the Taulians are former bankers, but because they're so passionate about freeing up cash trapped in supply chains, and actually they managed to do that at scale. So, Paddy, why don't you tell us a bit more about who Taulia is?
I hope passionate's a good word, by the way. So Taulia, founded in 2009, actually by 4 ex-SAP colleagues. And we are the world's most advanced financial supply chain company, providing solutions to over 150 large multinational corporates. We uniquely enable buyers to offer fully integrated electronic invoicing, self-service, and early payment solution to their suppliers, using either the buyer's own liquidity or liquidity provided by third-party banks and financial institutions on a dynamic basis. We deliver automated and flexible procure-to-pay and early payment solutions using our multi-funder platform capability, our data analytics, and strategic bank partners. We focus on automation and scalability, which has meant our network has grown to over 2.3 million businesses globally. We employ 400 people across 8 offices around the world and accelerate around $510 billion of spend on an annual basis. First and foremost, we are a responsible business, so we provide fair, reliable, and predictive financing to all suppliers, regardless of size or sophistication.
You can go for the customers.
Great. So this slide is just a brief overview of just some of the companies that we're really proud to call our customers today. We have a diverse customer base in terms of headquarter location, in terms of ownership structure, whether it's private or public, and also in terms of industry vertical. We are sector agnostic, but we have a significant presence in a few sectors. So predominantly retail and consumer, pharmaceuticals and healthcare, shipping logistics, automotives and telecoms. I'd like to point out a few customers on this slide, just to give you an insight into why corporates choose Taulia in the first place. So maybe let's start with AstraZeneca, AZ, the pharmaceutical giant. So they formerly had a bank-led SCF program with one of their relationship banks. And this program had been going for a number of years, but only really ramped to around 50 to 100 suppliers. Given AZ's ethos and their values, they wanted to support the entirety of their supply chain. So they actually transitioned the program to Taulia because of our 90-second supplier onboarding and the fact that we can support their mid-tail and long-tail of suppliers. If we switch to Airbus, the French aeroplane manufacturer, they have a huge supply chain finance program with assets under management of in excess of $1 billion. this couldn't be supported by one solitary bank, so they're actually our pilot customer for the multi-funder platform. And this way, they are in a good place to allocate the funding to an array of their relationship banks, while also retaining Taulia for the technology piece. The last customer I want to point out to is Otto, the German e-commerce retailer. When we first started speaking to Otto, they provided us with a spend file of their suppliers direct from their SAP instance. And when we did the analysis on their suppliers, it turned out that a large proportion of their suppliers were already on the Taulia network taking early payments. And this in itself was a strong enough business case for Otto to move to us. So I want to try and make this a bit interactive, given everyone's had lunch and probably a bit tired. Who here has heard of the SAP Business Network? Great.
Oh, that's good.
And that's better than I thought. And please raise your hands once again if you've actually come into contact with the Business Network before, for example, you transacted with them. Okay, great. So a couple less. So I want to hand over to Marina now to give you an overview of what the Business Network actually entails.
So the SAP Business Network is the place where SAP automates and standardizes collaborative business processes. It's a combination of several pre-existing networks. You have, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. You have the SAP Ariba procurement network. You have SAP Fieldglass for services procurement. You have the SAP Asset Intelligence Network for equipment, and the SAP Logistics Business Network for carriers. All of that combined results into a network of more than 4 million trading partners exchanging business transactions. And it's seamlessly integrated into SAP S/4HANA and ECC, potentially automating these processes for more than 60,000 customers. And today, we are bringing into that ecosystem Taulia. So what will Taulia bring out of the box for all those intelligent enterprises, Paddy?
Thanks. So in March of this year, we were very proud to join the SAP family. And this will accelerate our ability to add additional value to the trading partners on our network. So we will become SAP's working capital management platform, offering a best-in-class cash optimization solution suite, covering all three components of the cash conversion cycle, including, but not limited to, supply chain finance and dynamic discounting on the DPO or payables side, receivables finance on the DSO or receivables side, and inventory management and financing on the DIO or inventory side. All of our solutions leverage AI-powered analytics, which determine the most efficient working capital management lever to pull. And once the programs are in place, we use those same analytics to track the program, monitor its performance, and determine how best to improve or ramp the program.
So all of this is now available out of the box to all those 4 million trading partners.
Yeah, so part of our mutual roadmap and vision is actually enabling our network users who use the solutions on the left-hand side to plug into Taulia, and that will help them unlock working capital via early payment offers in real time, and also enable them to execute collaborative business processes and access status visibility across trading partners.
Thank you, Paddy. That was a nice segue to the next one. So I'm going to take you through what our vision is for the Taulia fit into our portfolio. So we talked about the business network as the collaboration layer between trading partners. We also have a significant planning capability within the ERP, within S/4HANA, with the Treasury Suite. And now with Taulia, we are actually complementing all of this with an execution component. So as Paddy was explaining, all those cash analytics tools here that rely on AI analytics to simulate what those working capital optimization programs can bring as benefits to corporates. You can both simulate, so you have action to insight dashboards that you can also use to track the actual performance of those programs, whether it's payables, receivables, virtual card, or inventory programs that you put in place. Taulia is also investing in sustainability, so incorporating the sustainability into their programs. And thanks to these efforts, suppliers with better sustainability scores are given better rates. It's something quite recent, and we're very proud of it. It really aligns with SAP's goals and top-of-mind priorities. Taulia has some quite exceptional strengths that are worth highlighting, like the 90-second onboarding for suppliers, significant footprint in some industries like healthcare, retail, or sorry, keep me honest.
Shipping?
Yeah, shipping. I had one more, telecoms as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So many of those suppliers from those industries are already onboarded on the Taulia platform, and therefore can easily start transacting also with other customers. And with that, so that's more or less the overview of how Taulia fits into the portfolio. And with the next slide, I'm going to talk to you a bit more about how we are planning to get there. So here you see a visual representation of our roadmap efforts. On the top, you have the Taulia, what we call the Taulia core, so the working capital management platform with their existing solutions, payables, receivables, financing, the AI-powered analytics, and all of this is sitting on an ecosystem of more than 20 banks and financial institutions today. So our efforts focus essentially on seamless integration, and it's twofold integration. On one hand side, you have the integration with the ERP. This is already existing today, so Taulia does implement this kind of integration with ECC and S4HANA. They have their own technology, it's an add-on technology. We are planning to build a native SAP integration as an alternative, which is faster time to value for our SAP customers, and also reuses some of our standard cloud integration tools. On the other hand side, we have the integration with the SAP Business Network. That's more into what we just described about how this community of intelligent enterprises is going to leverage now the Taulia working capital management solutions. And in practical terms for a customer, this means that they can either have the direct integration, so either just the two components here together, or they can have all three if their needs are going beyond working capital management and more into collaborative business processes. So that's our first objective. Number two, just below, these are the immediate Taulia priorities, I would say, so around sustainability and scale. The sustainability solution, as I mentioned, is already launched. And then when we talk about scale, it's around extending these existing solutions into new countries, new geographies. Yeah. So, Petty, where is Taulia heading to?
Yeah, great. So we've always sort of seen our home markets being Western Europe and North America. And in the last year, 18 months, that has changed, the trajectory has changed. So we've launched in Asia Pacific, so we have an established office in Shanghai, in Sydney, and in Singapore. And we're also looking to launch into the Middle East pretty imminently. But we are looking to collaborate with banks to go into new jurisdictions with a view on, again, the Middle East, Eastern Europe, Latin America, and more pockets within Asia Pacific. So food for thought, of course.
So if you already operate in these regions, we are more than happy to talk to you in further detail about opportunities there. And then the bottom of this pyramid is dedicated to Taulia's innovation. This is very important for us. We want to preserve Taulia's capability to innovate in this space and continue to do so, leveraging their knowledge and experience. So among the innovations that are upcoming, we have virtual cards. That aligns pretty much with the session we just heard from Barclays. And then you have pre-approval invoice financing, PO financing, and Fund the UI. Fund the UI is a new capability specifically for the financing institutions and banks to be able to track their activity as a funder on the Taulia platform. And talking about banks and financial institutions, Paddy, back to you to tell us how you work with banks and what's the opportunity for banks with Taulia.
Thanks, Marina. So we've been talking for a while now, and if I put myself in the banker's shoes yourself, you're probably thinking this is fantastic. Taulia seems great. These two are obviously very clever, but what does this affect me? So the reason why we're here is to speak to banks and financial institutions like yourselves. So a key element of the roadmap that we've set out is the important role that bank partners play. There are multiple ways of banks to partner with Taulia and fund Taulia programs, and whether that's the multi-funder platform rails, whether that's a direct bank integration, or indeed co-selling, co-origination. And each bank or financial institution will choose the solution that fits their requirements the best at that moment in time. But I want to focus on the why. So why partner with Taulia on this journey? The way we see it, there's 3 pillars to this. First of all, Taulia has a track record in being a leader in the working capital management space. You saw a brief overview of just some of the companies that we call our customers. We have fierce ambitions to grow, and we believe we will do. And as we grow and we win more mandates, our bank partners win more mandates as well. Secondly, most of the corporates we speak to, whether they're prospects or existing customers, prefer to allocate funding towards their relationship banks. And for our bank partners, this represents an opportunity to not only provide your clients with innovative solutions, but also improve your internal return on investment metrics, whether that's return on risk-weighted assets or return on equity. It also allows you to lower risks or costs. Lastly, more and more banks are looking towards Taulia to drive innovation, because this mitigates some of the risks that banks face when their own proprietary bank platform becomes either old-fashioned or too resource and cost-intensive. Taulia's bank partnerships are win-win for all parties. Corporates are able to leverage the bank's global presence, balance sheet and liquidity, and deep regulatory and risk landscape understanding. In collaboration with Taulia and SAP's scalable best-in-class technology, vast business network, and deep integration. Taulia, the right partner for today, will also be the right partner going forward in the future. We'll work with banks to deliver pioneering innovations, as Marina said, virtual cards, pre-approval financing, purchase order financing, and ESG and sustainability-linked working capital programs. Taulia has already delivered with global corporate banks on a large scale. Over a year ago, JP Morgan looked towards Taulia to drive their innovation, despite almost unlimited technical internal resources. In a short space of time, this partnership has been a huge success. We've delivered seamless solutions. We've helped customers navigate jurisdictions which can be challenging from a regulatory perspective, and we've won plenty of mandates and awards along the way. Taulia are already a leader in the working capital management space. With SAP support, we're only going to grow, and we're on the lookout for new strategic bank partners to aid our growth. Many thanks for your time. Welcome any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much, both. So, as with the presentation just before lunch, we always have to be ready for a plan B. The app wasn't working for people to submit questions. So we're going to go old school. So we have a microphone, if people remember what those things are. If you have a question, I can't actually see, so I don't know if you can. But put your hand up or stand up, and we'll get the microphone to you.
Thank you. Hopefully you can hear us now. I was interested in what you're saying about sustainability. That's the first I'd heard, and that's obviously very nice to hear. But what the authoritative data source you're using to make sure that what data you're using to know what your suppliers or your supply chain finances are sustainable companies? And obviously, the people will tell you that if they're good companies, but the ones that are not so good, maybe we don't tell you. So what kind of third-party source are you thinking of using?
Sure, I can take that question. So we're already working. We have a partnership already with EcoVadis, but we're already working with the likes of Sustainalytics as well, and in active dialogue with other third-party ratings providers. The idea is we have an ESG dashboard. This is already live, by the way, for customers, and they can view, the buyer, the customer can view the aggregate scores of their suppliers, and also they can also dig into a bit more detail on each individual supplier. And whenever we have suppliers with multiple ratings, which may well be the case because they might be working with a number of different sustainability ratings partners, you'll be able to see that on this aggregate dashboard as well. So the answer is a number of partners, but principally we're already live with EcoVadis and Sustainalytics.
Any other questions? I have one, unless somebody else has got a question. So in case the microphone is changing hands out there, one of the key things that we're seeing from a general societal perspective at the moment is obviously the issues around supply chain movement and everything. So how does Taulia help with reducing friction within the supply chain and aiding, ensuring goods get to the right places in the right time and those aspects?
That's a very good one.
I'm happy to say that's a good question. So this is top of mind for pretty much every corporate we're speaking to at the moment, particularly inflation, interest rates on the up. This has meant, to be frank, more and more volumes going through the Taulia platform because cash is tight at the moment. More and more suppliers, especially the sort of SME and mid-market customers, they want cash quicker. They want it more available. So we're seeing an uptake in user volume and take-up of the program. So I think we're seeing a knock-on effect, and we'll probably see that for the foreseeable, depending on, obviously, the macroeconomic climate.
Interesting. Are there more questions in the front?
One more.
Follow-on question on receivables financing, because obviously with the macro environment tightening the whole situation, the quality of some of that is going to be very different. And obviously Taulia has grown very well in the good times, it looks like the last 3 or 4 years, but now we're going to a different scenario. How sure are you on your analytics and capabilities in a downturn as opposed to an upturn?
Yeah, it's good. So I think it's clear, given when we started, we haven't lived through an entire recession, if you like. So it's probably the first time we'll go through there. But the data analytics we have stored up, it actually has sort of stress testing and different parameters that we can plug in. So hopefully we'll be able, well, I'm sure, I'm positive we'll be able to ride the wave and actually add more value to our customers.
And to add to that, we see that in the challenging economic situation, stabilizing supply chains becomes more and more of a priority for big corporates, and they look for solutions. This is really top of mind, so we see more and more opportunities for Taulia.
Yeah, hi Paddy, thank you. On one of your slides, you had deep tier financing. Can you expand a bit more on that, please?
The deep tier financing?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so do you want to take it?
No, you go for it. Yeah.
So on deep tier financing, Taulia has the ambition to really be able to service all the suppliers. So really go into the the long tail suppliers, and deep tier financing is a way to achieve that. We have very early stage on that particular product line. So unfortunately, I won't be able to disclose details on what exactly is foreseen, but the goal is to be able to service the long tail.
Cool. Brilliant. Well, please join me in thanking Paddy and Marina.